Hello and welcome back to the local SCP researchers. I am researcher Dr. Church.
And Dr. Arlen.
And today we have a very popular one for you, SCP-049, also known as the Plague Doctor, which most of you should be familiar with. And with how much we have to talk about in this thing, we're just going to condense it down as best we can for you new people out there, but there is quite a bit in his file if you want to take a look for yourself. Alright, Special Containment Procedures. SCP-049 is to be contained within a standard secure humanoid containment cell in Research Sector 2 at Site-19. 049 must be sedated before any attempts to transport it. During transport, SCP-049 must be secured within a Class 3 humanoid restriction harness, including a locking collar and extension restraints, and monitored by no fewer than 2 armed guards. Dang.
Shit.
While SCP-049 is generally cooperative with most Foundation personnel, outbursts or sudden change in behavior are to be met with elevated force. Under no circumstances should any personnel come into direct contact with SCP-049. During these outbursts, in the event of 049 becoming aggressive, the application of lavender has been shown to produce a calming effect on the entity. Once calm, 049 generally becomes compliant and will return to containment with little resistance. In order to facilitate the ongoing containment of 049, the entity is to be provided with the corpse of a recently deceased animal, typically a bovine or other large mammal, once every 2 weeks for study. Corpses that become instances of SCP-049-2 are to be removed from 049's containment cell and incinerated. 049 is no longer permitted to interact with human subjects, and requests for human subjects are to be denied. Temporary Containment Procedure Update. Per Containment Committee Order 049.S4S19.17.1, 049 is no longer permitted to interact directly with any member of Foundation staff, nor is to be provided with any additional corpses to be used in its surgeries. This order shall persist indefinitely until such a time a consensus regarding the ongoing containment of 049 can be reached. Description: 049 is a humanoid entity roughly 1.9 meters in height, which bears the appearance of a medieval plague doctor. While 049 appears to be wearing the thick robes and ceramic mask indicative of that profession, the garments seem to have grown out of 049's body over time, and now nearly indistinguishable from whatever form is beneath them. X-rays indicate that despite this, 049 does have a humanoid skeleton structure beneath its outer layer. 049 is capable of speech in a variety of languages, though tends to prefer English or medieval French. While 049 is generally cordial and cooperative with Foundation staff, it can become especially irritated or at times outright aggressive if it feels it is in the presence of what it calls the pestilence. Although the exact nature of this pestilence is currently unknown to Foundation researchers, it does seem to be an issue of immense concern to 049. 049 will become hostile with individuals it sees as being affected by the pestilence, often having to be restrained should it encounter such. If left unchecked, 049 will generally attempt to kill any individual. 049 is capable of causing all biological functions of an organism to cease through direct skin contact. How this occurs is currently unknown, and autopsies of 049's victims have invariably been inconclusive. 049 has expressed frustration or remorse after these killings, indicating that they have done little to kill the pestilence. Though will usually seek to then perform a crude surgery on the corpse through the use of implements contained within a black doctor's bag it carries on its person at all times. While these surgeries are not always successful, they often result in the creation of instances of 049-2. 049-2 are animated corpses that have been operated on by 049. These instances do not seem to retain any of their prior memories or mental functions, only having basic motor skills and response mechanisms. While these instincts are generally interactive, moving very little and in generally ambulatory fashion, they can become extremely aggressive if provoked or if directed to by 049. 049-2 instances express active biological functions, though these are vastly different from currently understood human physiology. Despite these alterations, 049 often remarks that the subjects have been cured. Addendum 049.1 Discovery. 049 was discovered during the investigation of a series of unknown disappearances in the town of Montauban in southern France. During a raid on a local home
Continue.
Holy crap. Anyway, that's hail.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Continue.
04. During the raid, investigators found several instances of SCP-049-2 as well as 049. While law enforcement personnel engaged...
It's pretty bad.
Do you see the hail?
Yeah. Sorry, where was I?
You could start.
Oh, yes. While law enforcement personnel engaged the hostile 049-2 instances, 049 was noted to watch the engagement and taking notes in his journal. After all of the 049-2 instances were dispatched, 049 willingly entered Foundation custody. Interesting. After which follows a interview log between Dr. Raymond Hammond and 049, which I will not be reading, unfortunately. If you want to know that, you will have to read the file for yourself. Luckily, this is all online, so it'll be easy to find. Addendum 049.2 Observation Log. While in containment at Site 19, 049 has spent a considerable amount of time studying and performing surgeries on various mammalian corpses it has been provided. 049 will routinely spend several days performing surgery and then, regardless of whether or not the corpse becomes an instance of 049-2, spending several more days documenting its findings in a thick leather journal stored in its doctor's bag. 049 will often seek to share its findings with members of Foundation staff. And another log, unfortunately, I will not be able to read. Again, go check that out. Another interview between him and Dr. Ham, which I will not read. Addendum 049.3 April 16th, 2017 incident. Shortly after SCP-049's initial containment, Dr. Ham conducted a number of interviews with the subject regarding its anomalous properties, and over time began to note its displeasure with its subjects and 049-2 instances. This continued for a period of several months, during which 049 never exhibited any aggressive behaviors. On April 16, 2017, as Dr. Ham was entering 049's containment chamber to conduct another routine interview, the entity began to grow anxious and asked Dr. Ham if he was feeling well. Following protocol, Dr. Ham reminded 049 that the interview was required, after which the entity became hostile and attacked Dr. Ham, killing him. Due to a lapse in security protocol, and because Dr. Ham did not activate the in-chamber emergency system, Dr. Ham's corpse was not discovered until 3 hours later, by which point 049 had converted it into a 0.92-2 instance. In the aftermath of the incident, SCP-049 was interviewed by Dr. Thorin Sherman. Another interview, unfortunately, I will not be able to read. Addendum 049.4 Post-Incident Report Interview. Following the interview is an excerpt from the April 16th, 2017 049 incident report. The interview was conducted by Dr. Elijah Itkin and took place 3 weeks after the start of the initial investigation. Another one I will not be able to read. End of report. Okay, so we get the basic premise. This thing can literally just kill by touch, and whatever it usually experiments on results into a literal zombie-like creature.
So it's kind of just like death. Like the Grim Reaper kind of thing.
No, not exactly, because he eventually does bring you back. I mean, technically.
Nice, do. It's much better. Just one of those.
Yeah, that was nice of him. Anyway, as I was saying, so basically, and it's funny because I've watched many of the fan stuff, and it reflects 049 completely.
Yeah.
I watched a SCP series called SCP Sedation, which shows a specialized D-class personnel that goes in and deals with certain anomalies like 682, 079, 049, 035, 053, 343, which aka God, or so he claims. And I think that's actually where that series stopped, which it was a very fascinating series, and I recommend you check it out. Anyway, basically what I'm saying is that this thing was given a fool's errand, or it thinks what it is completely justified, but it's really running a fool's errand all along.
Yeah.
Because in one of the interviews it says that they gave him his journal. The text is illegible. He gives him a list of symptoms. It's too broad of a spectrum to pinpoint a single disease. And when he tries to just reason with him, he gives him some cocky excuse saying that they should know what it is, especially since it's such a dreaded disease. We don't know what it is.
He's just being cocky.
Yes.
He's being stubborn.
But also based on what...
Stubborn but smart.
But also based on what he is. Based on a couple of the interviews, it appears that this thing has been around a lot longer than most humans have. At least since the 16th century Black Death, at least.
Yeah.
In fact... Yeah. And then we know, and of course we all know about Ray. Or at least you should know about Dr. Ham.
Yeah.
He's made famous by his many interviews and his inevitable demise to 049.
Yeah.
And all because he claimed what he thinks to have is the pestilence.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Maybe someday we'll actually be able to freaking translate whatever the heck is in that journal he has on his person at all times. That and also the fact that whatever that bag is, it's pretty interesting considering that he can literally just pull anything out of it, and it's... Well, any medical supplies you can pull out of that bag.
Okay. So it's like a side bag kind of thing? It's like a...
Carries it wherever he goes.
Oh, yeah, it is.
All I'm saying is it kind of seems like another entity, but I can't remember what number it was, but it's called the Infinite Pizza Box. It's literally a Little Caesars pizza box that you can... Any pizza you can think of will pop out of that box. Will literally pop out of that box. It doesn't even need to be Little Caesars. You can put Pizza Hut, Domino's, a pizza from a restaurant, pizza's like from our local Italian restaurant.
Yeah.
By the way, when we went to our work meeting, that was delicious. To be fair though, there are just some days though you just can't beat Domino's because it's distinct.
Yeah.
Anyway, going back to the task at hand. Interesting how it said bovine or mammalian, because mammalian is basically like monkeys or anything that's furry and warm-blooded.
Yep.
Is a mammal. But then he said bovine. And a bovine is literally something that has hooves. A
Like a
quadruped
horse.
with hooves.
So like a horse or a cow or something.
I think it goes specifically to specific livestock, in this case cows. And as you can see by this image of a instance of 049-2, for some reason they're stitching everywhere. The head's on backwards for some reason. It looks like his guts are literally spilling out his bottom where the udder should be.
His legs are flipped around.
His front legs are flipped around, but his
back legs are too. He spun them around.
Oh yeah, he swapped the left and the right, but otherwise it would look like normal legs.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that. You're right. But otherwise, besides that, it seems fine. Well, I mean, fine as it can be fine.
Fine enough.
Look at it.
Yeah.
As it
Bad surgical.
He has like, I don't know why this. To be fair, is if we could only figure out what the heck this pestilence is, maybe we could actually figure out what the heck he's trying to cure.
True.
If that was only freaking... All I'm gonna say is that... The problem is, though, is that he doesn't he won't answer any interview questions as he won't only answer it as part of an interview, not an inquisition. Meaning we can't just force the information out of him. And knowing him, he's been known to lie. Quite a bit.
But he is smart.
Oh,
he's doing it smart.
Well, of
Pretty
course,
smart.
he wouldn't be able to do the surgeries that he does with such accuracy and precision if he wasn't a professional at what he does.
Yeah.
That's without a doubt.
Yep.
It's like, he may be crazy and an anomaly, but he is brilliant.
Yeah. And, like, he has, like, he's, like, I don't know, he's, like, quote-unquote, respectful at some points. Like,
That's because he actually wishes to pass on his knowledge to other people.
But there's not really...
That's
not
but
really
like
much.
we've said, we've tried the freaking journal. It's illegible. He's given us a list of symptoms. Inconclusive results. It's not easy to figure out what the heck we're trying to find.
Yeah. We can... Ooh, one thing I could have done is see if he could translate what was from his journal.
Into modern English. Or medieval French, because then we can just get another translator and it'd be a lot easier.
Yeah. He could translate it, but I don't know if he would actually do that.
That, and also, like we've said, he's been known to lie, so I don't know if that's gonna be concrete results like an actual scientific method would.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to trust the word of an anomaly when it's been known to lie.
The one thing you could do is make him, translate the same thing over multiple different quote-unquote interviews. And if it changes, just kind of try to piece it together to make it sound like...
Yeah, but knowing him, he makes some kind of snorky retort and saying, like, I've already done this. Why do you need me to do it again? And then because like we said, he may be an anomaly, and he's brilliant, and he ain't stupid. I can tell you that much. He knows why he's in containment. He knows why he's in containment. He knows why it's useless fighting them, because they would just ultimately contain him and strap him down like they do in his transportation procedures anyway. He would just keep him there. But instead, he went reluctantly, and now he's able to continue his research somewhat.
Yeah.
Because based on based on the temporary containment procedure update, it doesn't seem like that went very well.
Not really.
Oh, I didn't even read this. I didn't even see this part. It says right next to it, see addendum 049.3, which I believe, that's the April 16th, 2017 incident. That's what, ever since that's why he's been restricted on his current endeavors. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I mean, you got anything else beyond that? Because honestly,
he's really well known anyways, so
I mean,
what people know about him, it's not really too much.
What people know about him already could theorize about on their own.
Yeah, it's posted everywhere, so.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, I think that wraps up our report on SCP-049, and I'm happy to announce our next week's SCP being SCP-270, aka the Secluded Telephone. And make sure you check out that SCP Seduction series, because it's good and stuff. And we will see you in the next report.